Hello and welcome to the Roaming Kiwi Aviation channel. Today we are at Gate 18 at Auckland Airport, and it's a pretty blustery day. A lot of high winds and cloud activity rolling through. We're going to be going down to Wellington, which is about an hour's flight, in our Airbus A320, which has the All Blacks livery. As you can see, there's a beautiful paint job on this A320. There's an aircraft taking off. Looks like runway 5R is the active runway for today. So without any further ado, we will get our aircraft prepared and we'll be out of here. So welcome to the cockpit, and as you can see, we're at the cold and dark stage where nothing is switched on at this moment. The aircraft has been standing for a few hours. The last crew has disembarked and a fresh crew is now on board, so we need to get this aircraft powered up and ready for departure. As you can see, the skyway is disconnected from the aircraft, so I think what we'll do is we'll get that connected first of all, so that we've got the ability to get ground staff and aircrew talking to each other via the external stairs, etc. And at the same time we'll start getting our flight plan and payload, fuel, passengers, etc. information loaded into our onboard computer. Okay, so let's push the button to toggle the jetway, and in it comes. You'll see the door opening just on the corner there. Yep. Great, so we are now connected to the departure lounge. Okay, so let's get this aircraft switched on and start the preparations. So we'll switch batteries on and connect to external power. Right, and switch on crew supply. Haters. Cockpit lights. Let's put all the lights on inside the cockpit here so we can see what we're doing. Nav and logo. No smoking. Seat belts and emergency lights. And we can start loading the aircraft at this stage. So what have we got? 116 passengers. That's not a lot. Okay. Let's load the aircraft. You can see now things are starting to happen, and we're going to set up our altitude to 35,000 feet, which is what is in the flight plan for today. Checking fuel, 4,000. Oh, that's not a lot. Oh no, that's changing. 4,140. Right, so we're fueling. If you'll have a look at fuel on board here, that's climbing as we fuel the aircraft, which is good. And let's set our QNH from 2991 to 2994, which is the barometric pressure. Constraints are on. Right, let's start the APU. Probe heat. APU master on, give it 3 seconds. Right, so basically what we've done by switching on the APU, that is our internal generator. So once that gets fired up, we won't need the external power and we'll be able to disconnect from that to then get the engine started, and we'll be on our own power. So we'll have an external view of that. You can hear the APU generator spooling up there. Right, so that's ready. So APU bleed is on. Let's go to, this is our MCDU, which is the internal computer, and we now need to import the flight plan, which was loaded to air traffic control. You'll see it come up on the left. There we go. NZAA, which is Auckland, to NZWN, which is Wellington. Alternative is Christchurch if there's an issue. And flight number is ANZ1002. NZAA to NZ Wellington. There we go, that's fine. Right, let's have a look at our flight plan. Cost index is 5. Cruising altitude today is going to be 35,000 feet. And the flight plan, NZAA departure is 5 right. MRAG and then straight out. That can work. So if we do MRAG, no transition, insert, that just gets us straight out, and then we can enter a couple of waypoints. Okay, we're fully loaded at this point, so we're just going to send this information through to the MCDU computer and check that that's all come up. Yep, that's good. And if we go to our performance screen, V1, VR, V2 needs to be entered. So we're taking oil for 5R, our flaps are at 1, synchronized data, live weather and calculates. So 147 is our takeoff speed. Send that to the MCDU. And you'll see it's all in there. So that is the MCDU now fully programmed. We can now get on with speaking to air traffic control and getting clearance, and then we will start our pushback.
Taxi to and hold short runway 5 right via taxiway Foxtrot Lima Mike Alpha Alpha 10 Kiwi 159 November Zulu.
So that's my AI co-pilot. As you can see, there's nobody there, but it's all AI nowadays. You don't need a second person. This is what AI is all about. It's to replace people. So I'm the only one up here. My AI pilot is invisible, but she's taking care of all the communications with air traffic control. So at this point, we're going to get ready to push back, disconnect, and get on with business. Right, so the MCDU is set up. We've done air traffic control clearance.
Ground, high non 79er, 7 heavy taxi to the gate. High non 79er, 7 heavy taxi to gate 30 via taxiway Alpha 5 Bravo 5.
Okay, we're going to disconnect external power. Fuel pump switch on.
Taxiing to gate 30 using taxiway Alpha 5 Bravo.
Seatbelt signs on.
7 heavy.
No smoking sign on. Thrust levers check. Fuel quantity check. 5,700 kilograms. Transponder mode to auto. Transponder to auto. TCAS on. Weather radar on. Spoilers armed, flaps to 1. ignition switch set to ignition. Okay. Transponder on, beacon lights on. Beacon lights on. Parking brakes, right. Request pushback and start. Toggle jetway. There we go. So it disconnects us from the airport. You can see in the bottom right hand corner, this is our tug. Guys getting ready to push us out. So we'll be doing that now. Connect tug and start. There's the tug coming in underneath us. As soon as he starts pushing us back, we will fire up engine number 2, which is on the right wing, engine number 1 on the left wing. Right, there we go, we're being pushed back. Let's get engine number 2 fired up. The flaps coming down.
Ladies and gentlemen, please observe the cabin crew member closest to you as we are about to demonstrate the safety features of our Airbus A320 aircraft. Thank you.
Excuse all the chitter chatter.
New Zealand 563 heavy pushback request accepted.
Right, we're going to swing our nose to the right here so that we point in the direction of the camera towards the setting sun. Engine number 2 spoiling up now, which is very good. Okay, let's swing that tail. Okay, let's get engine number 1 started.
Auckland ground Delta 64 heavy requesting pushback.
Okay, we're going to stop here, stop pushback to this point.
Delta 64 heavy pushback request accepted.
Stop here. Apply brakes.
Auckland ground New Zealand 563 heavy requesting the end of pushback.
That's the end of the tug.
New Zealand 563 heavy request to end pushback received.
Okay, so we're spooling up engine number 1.
Go into this tube. There is a light and whistle for attracting
Auckland
attention.
ground New
The
Zealand
cabin crew can
563
assist
heavy
you with
with
life
officer ready to
jackets and
taxi
children.
IFR.
Tray table must now be stowed,
New Zealand
armrests down,
563 heavy
window blinds
taxiing to
open,
and hold short
and
of runway
seatbelt
5 right using taxiway
Further
Kilo
info.
Delta 8 Echo Lima Mike Alpha Alpha 10.
Okay.
Contact tower on 123.9 when ready.
So, parking brakes on, engine mode selected to normal.
Taxiing hold short runway 5 right using taxiway Kilo
APU
Delta
off.
8 Echo
We
Lima
are now
Mike
under
Alpha Alpha
engine
10
power,
New
so we
Zealand
take engine
563
blade
heavy.
off. Master switch off. So APU is now off. We set our auto brakes to max. Auto brakes to max. Check flight
Auckland ground
controls.
Delta 64 heavy requesting the end of pushback. Delta 64 heavy request to end pushback received.
Flight controls all functioning. Spoilers are armed, flaps are set, pitch trim set, rudder trim set, anti-ice as required, flight instruments checked. We are now ready to taxi, so brakes off. And we are rolling. Here we go.
Taxi to and hold short runway 5 right, using taxiway Delta 8 Echo Lima, Mike Alpha Alpha 10 Delta 64 Heavy.
Right, so set nose light to taxi. Runway turn lights on, strobes on, wing lights on. It's really dark with all these clouds. That aircraft is... Yo, there's a lot of traffic today. What's going on? Well, it is Sunday and all said and done, so this is where everybody leaves for a full week. Wow, there's a lot of aircraft. Okay, TO config. Check. Normal. Okay, so aircraft is configured. There's no issues. So we are good for takeoff. So it looks like we are number 3 for takeoff. There's a lot taking off tonight. No, I don't see much landing. You can hear the wheels going over the cat's eyes on the taxiway. That's pretty cool. Okay, checklist before takeoff. Cabin crew has been advised. Yep, cabin ready. Brake temperatures checked. Brake fans are off. Engine mode selector is set. Put our weather radar on and set our lights in the cabin here on our instrument cluster. Right, that's everything set there. Flight's ready to go. Right, everything is set. Our before takeoff checklist has been completed, and we're ready for the next section, which is brakes, engines and thrust to takeoff. Aircraft in front has been asked to line up and wait. I see an aircraft coming in to land, so we might have to sit here for a couple of seconds. So they've been given clearance to go. Oh, that's a go around, that is. Yes, indeed. That one came in too close, so the one landing has had to go around, which should mean we've got a clear departure. Yep, don't see anything coming.
Auckland Tower, Kiwi 159 November Zulu, ready for departure to the south at runway 5 right.
Delta 64 Heavy, contact New Zealand Center on 119.2. Good day. Kiwi 159 November Zulu, line up and wait.
Line up and wait.
Line up and wait, Kiwi 159 November Zulu.
That means we can get on the runway, but we don't have a rolling start. We've got to actually stop until they tell us we can actually move. So we're going to line up and wait. Get our landing lights on. All lights are now on for takeoff. There's takeoff lights.
November, Zulu wind 090 at 12. South departure approved.
There's our clearance.
Cleared for takeoff runway 5 right.
Cleared for takeoff runway 5 right, Kiwi 159 November Zulu.
Brakes. Engines stabilize at 40%. Thrust. And take off. Ooh, there's a strong wind.
Tower, New Zealand 129er, heavy ready for IFR departure, runway 5 right.
120 km/h winds.
129er, heavy hold, short runway 5 right. Traffic is Airbus A320 on the runway.
Here we go.
New Zealand 129er, heavy line up and wait. Kiwi 159 November Zulu, continue for south departure.
Gear up.
Line up and wait, New Zealand 129er, heavy.
Autopilot initiated.
159 November Zulu, leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Thrust to
Auckland Tower, Kiwi 159 November Zulu, continue for south departure. Auckland Tower, Kiwi 159 November Zulu, frequency change. New Zealand Center, Kiwi 159 November Zulu, is type Airbus A320 miles east of Auckland, 2,400
flaps
feet.
retracted, so
Request
after
clearance
takeoff
to
landing
transition
gear
Charlie
retracted,
airspace.
engine mode selector is normal, spoilers disarmed,
Heavy climb and maintain flight level 20.
thrust to climb, flaps retracted, packs on, anti-ice, nose wheel lights off, and runway turn-off lights off.
25. Climb and maintain flight level 200 Delta 64 heavy. New Zealand 5156 heavy traffic is 2 o'clock 4 miles at 3,000
Positive
feet
rate
Airbus
of climb,
A320.
everything good.
Report them in sight.
Squawk 6325 Kiwi 159 November Zulu.
New Zealand Center, New Zealand 129er heavy is passing 800 feet, climbing 10,000 feet. Zealand 129er heavy, New Zealand Center altimeter 29.9er for radar contact. Continue.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace, Kiwi 159 November Zulu.
6,000 feet.
Jetstar 262 heavy traffic is 3 o'clock, 2 miles at 5,800 feet Airbus A320N. Report them in sight. New Zealand 5156 Heavy have the Airbus A320N in sight.
Alright, so where are we? We're heading out here, and we're going to come around this way. That's good, we're banking. Let's just check and see what our radar is. Next waypoint is lakes. Oh, hello. Blue sky, sunshine. Right. Setting up our radar in front. There's our next waypoint, lakes.
New Zealand 5140 Heavy, you are 14 miles south of Auckland. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Contact Auckland Tower on 123.9er.
Okay, we've passed transition altitude, which means we can switch off our landing lights and our seatbelt signs, beacon lights, and wing lights.
Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Tower on 123.9er, New Zealand 5140 Heavy.
Also means we can start accelerating now, up to 280. And our baro will change shortly from 2994 to standard once the aircraft has got to suitable altitude. Wow, it's quite some cloud cover out there, isn't there? Let's get a passenger look out the left window. Go. That's the Pacific Ocean out there with the Coromandel in the background. Out our right window.
New Zealand 5156 Heavy, you are 14 miles west. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect vectors ILS runway, flight right approach.
Barometric pressure set to standard. We're all good. Our cabin crew can start serving snacks. Seatbelt signs have been switched off, and we are heading to 35,000 feet. Yeah, that should be okay. That gives us a top of altitude here, which is TOC, top of climb. We fly level for a short while, and then there's the start of our descent about there. So we have this short period, to be about 15 minutes of level flying, and then we drop down towards Wellington. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that takeoff. Yeah, wasn't any issues to worry about. A bit windy on the ground in Auckland, but up here it's a lot better. It's a lot more calmer up here, and we should have a fairly smooth flight once we get above this cloud level that's in front of us. We should be in blue skies in a few minutes, and so when we get out of the way, we don't need these type of clouds here. Otherwise it's going to be bumpy as hell. Right, so I'll leave it there for now, and I'll come back to you when we start our descent down to Wellington. So this is a nice view of the cockpit from the pilot and co-pilot point of view. of the Airbus A320. As you can see, it's not a huge cluster of instruments on these little airliners compared to the bigger 777s, 380s, and soon to be the 390s. That's going to be something to look at. Yeah, so we don't have a massive instrument cluster, as you can see. It's all fairly easy to read, easy to operate, and I'll give you a quick look at what it's looks like behind me in the cockpit. Unfortunately, we can't show you all the passengers that came on board because the software is not that clever yet, but it will be one day. There is an optional extra you can get for software for these programs, which allows you to view 3D passengers and everything, but it's a huge load on resources as far as the computer's concerned. So there we go, that's what it looks like down inside our Airbus. So we're in the forward section here where stewardesses
708 Heavy, you are 53 miles north.
is our front door.
Maintain 12,000 feet. Expect vectors. Visual runway 11 right approach.
And there we go. There's all the passengers' seats. Looking rather empty on this flight.
And maintain 12,000 feet. Expect vectors. Visual runway 11 right approach. Chatham 708 Heavy.
We're coming past the wing, so you'll hear a louder engine noise. And here's the rear galley, where all your food is prepared. And let's get back to the cockpit. There we go. Is that door still open? Yes, it is. Alright, let's just close that. So, for those of you interested in what you're looking at the moment, this is the first time you've seen it, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator software. Version 2020. There's a new version out, 2024, which was released in November last year. Oh, look, there's a mountain down there. That's Taranaki, Mount Taranaki on the North Island, which is an extinct volcano for now. So that's a good waypoint, visual landmark for pilots. Sometimes when you can't see the ground and you can see the top of Taranaki, you know where you are. And as I was saying, so this is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, which loads onto your local computer. It's quite a big 150 gigabyte download onto local computer. You also need a computer that is fairly beefy with a big graphics card in order to give you this quality of graphics, which I'm very pleased about. The ground terrain is photogrammetry, which is Microsoft Flight Simulator literally has petabytes, I think it's called, yes, petabytes of photogrammetry photography on all, literally the entire world. So as you're flying your aircraft, the software, sort of like a GPS, notifies the cloud-based system where you are, and it downloads via the internet the satellite images of the ground below you in its last whatever, the last time it was photographed. So it gives you a sense of realism and reality that you would get the same as if you were flying the aircraft as a real pilot. So what I'm looking at in front of me with the hills, and the ground texture below may not be as good as the eye out of a real aircraft, but it's pretty 90% there, which is fantastic. It really is. Now there is, as I said, a later version that's come out, which is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which I did sign up for and download. That is literally a skeleton download, only a few gigabytes, and everything is streamed over the internet and is supposedly 1,000 times better in quality of photography, graphic awareness, graphic visuals, etc. And I had it for 2 weeks and ended up basically removing the base program from my computer and reinstalling 2020 and coming back to this. My honest opinion of Flight Simulator 2024 is it's just been released. As you can imagine, 2020 was released in 2020, so it's 4 years old at the time of 2024's release. So a lot of bug fixing over the years has given me this, which is pretty cool. I feel the realism in the simulator, which is really good. I feel like I'm flying an aircraft. In 2024, it's just so big, so buggy, it's just not worth it. So I would probably leave it alone for 12 months, 18 months, and go back to it in 2026, somewhere around there, and have a look and see if it's improved as far as the bugs and that sort of stuff go. So that's my take on that. We're coming now to our descent. So I will start that. We're going to go down to 10,000 feet, which is our transition altitude. I'll plug that in. You see the nose dipping slightly there, and you'll see the arrow automatically setting our descent speed, normally about 3 degrees, so that we don't end up overspeeding, which can happen if you drop it below 3 degrees at this height. You can end up with the aircraft going insane as far as speed goes. As far as our speed does go, I'll show you on the right hand side here. In fact, if I go to the right hand console, so that's maximum speed there, which is just over 280 knots. We're actually at 477, and it might climb a little as we go down. No, it's fine there, good. It seems to be holding at just below 260 knots, as you see the altitude dropping. And our current level of descent is 2100 feet per minute, which is 3 degrees pretty much. Passengers are not going to feel so much. Alright, just having a look at our navigation chart there. I'm just going to switch it out to 80 miles. So Dogad is the beginning of our standard terminal arrival route. So at this point here,
Chatham 708 Heavy, you are 24 miles north. Climb and maintain 6,700 feet. Expect vectors, visual runway 11 approach.
I don't know which airport that is, but 11 isn't Wellington. Okay, so our first constraint is WN 406 at 10,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 6,700 feet. Expect vectors, visual runway 11 approach. Chatham 708 Heavy.
But there is a plus before the 10,000 feet, so that means You cannot be under 10,000 feet at this point. That's fine. This is the indicator where we're going to be at 10,000 feet, which is our next waypoint. You can see the computer calculating there, and we need to be at above 9,000 feet here. At this point is where we set the aircraft up for landing. So as you see, we're a little way out still as we come down. Still got some altitude to come down, 29,000 feet. So we'll be down at 10,000 around this area here. Now I could set up a holding passion. Now I could I could set up a holding pattern at Dogad, but that's a little bit far away from Wellington. So depending on how fast we're coming down and our angle degree of descent, I will set up a holding pattern to do a loop to bring us down slowly. We're not in a hurry to get into Wellington, so we're not on the clock. We're 31 minutes coming up now in this flight so far, so we'll see how it goes, but we are available to set up a holding pattern should we do it. And all this will be discussed when we get closer to our destination. Okay, we've got a bit of a zigzag in the flight plan, but that's not a major issue. Actually makes it easier to manage as you're coming down. Where are we? So 9,000 feet at the next. So if we set our altimeter for 9,000 feet, 220, I'm going to slow that down to 210, so we'll be able to activate our flaps for landing. Looking at our checklists before landing, cabin crew advised, ND terrain as required, as landing gear, flaps, spoilers, auto brakes, engine mode selector, exterior lights, nose wheel and runway lights all set, but that is not what we require right now. We have the STD light flashing there on the console, which gives us our barometric pressure, which is 3006. Okay, so normally I would be flying straight out across that headland and doing a right turn and then coming in this way. But in this instance, we're going to be turning right before right now, in fact, to come in from the west. This is the Wairarapa Valley, very beautiful area. I've been motorhome camping down here. It is some of the most gorgeous parts of the country. Wellington is right here on this peninsula. The airport is over here. So we're now going to be coming around this way and landing in that direction. And we need to get down to about 4,000 feet. See what are we at there? 9,000. Alright, our next waypoint is under 6,000 and above 4,800.
Wellington Tower, Cessna Sierra Delta Alpha November, ready for departure, runway 16 IFR to Woodbourne. Cessna Sierra Delta Alpha November, altimeter 30.05, wind 177 at 5.
Alright, I'm going to increase my descent speed down to 1,800 feet a second. I mean a minute. God, 1,800. That's almost like vertical down.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 Cessna Sierra Delta Alpha November.
Right, we're at transition altitude, 10,000 feet. Let's get our landing lights on. And seatbelt signs are now activated. Our speed is slowly starting to increase, so I'm going to put some speed brakes in there just to slow stuff down. You can see by the navigation chart we've got a sort of dog's leg to the left, which now means we're coming in at ILS runway 16. Let's drop our nav down to 10 miles. So this is the 10-mile radius that we're looking at. And on this side we look at the 20. Okay, so that restriction was below 6 and above 4.8. Yep, we will meet that without a problem. Looking at our checklists, everything is set. passenger's view of the port side of the aircraft, looking down over the mountains that surround Wellington. Sun setting there. What's the time? Yep, 7:45 p.m. in summer.
Wind 177 at 5. Clear to land runway 16. Clear to land runway 16 New Zealand 69er 1 heavy.
Right, so 3,000 feet is our next waypoint. Switching on our ILS systems. You can probably see this little diamond here climbing. We need that to be above. Okay. That's our brakes.
Alpha November, contact New Zealand Center on 119.2.
Come on, let's get you up there. So this is our final approach coming up.
Going to 119er decimal 2 Cessna Delta Alpha November. New Zealand 69er 1 heavy exit runway when able.
Here we go.
New Zealand 69er
Right.
1 heavy contact ground.
Landing gear down.
Decimal 9er. Going to 121 decimal 9er New Zealand 69er 1 heavy.
We're on the approach. Flaps 2. Don't worry about that. It'll clear in a couple of seconds. There you go. A little bit fast coming in, that's why. Right, arm spoilers. Spoilers armed. Landing speed 140 knots.
Kiwi 159 November, Zulu wind 177 at 5. Clear to land runway 16.
1000.
Clear to land runway 16 Kiwi 159 November Zulu.
Flaps 3. Okay, stand by. Flaps 4. Okay. Set brakes to medium. I will take autopilot off at 500 feet.
$1,000.
1000 check. Continue. Quite a lovely view, isn't it? It's quite calm here today in Wellington. Normally the sea is very choppy here.
500.
Okay, autopilot's going to be disconnected.
400.
I have control.
300.
Check.
200.
Continue.
100. 40, 30, 20. Retard. Retard.
Perfect landing, if I must say so myself.
Kiwi 159 November, Zulu, exit runway when able.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was a lovely landing. Well, they normally are when you've got good weather. It's only when the wind blows you end up with left and right all over the runway.
Kiwi 159 November, Zulu, turn next taxiway.
We are doing just that, sir.
Kiwi 159 November, Zulu, contact ground on 121.9er.
Right, where do they want to put us?
121.9er Kiwi 159 November Zulu. Goodbye.
So we've just been in contact with Tower and they've given us access to gate 13, which as you can see we're coming in here. This is us here. Gate 13 is over here, right on the corner. I'll show you as soon as we've lined up here on the taxiway. So here's gate 13, somewhere here. So we need to turn at this next section here. Let's just check out. Right, let's have a look. Where are we? 14. God, there's numbers everywhere here except the right ones. It's got to be gate 13 on the left here.
St. Andrews Tree 5, 9er pushback request.
Oh, there's our man.
Wellington ground, New Zealand 5 Tree, 25 heavy requesting pushback. New Zealand 5 Tree, 25 heavy pushback request accepted. Contact tower on 118.8 when ready. Taxiing hold short runway tree for using taxiway Delta uniform, Bravo 10 Alpha Alpha 10 St. Andrews 220. Wellington
There we
ground,
go.
New Zealand 454 heavy requesting pushback.
Here comes the Skyway.
New Zealand 454 heavy pushback request accepted.
Switching over
Wellington
to
ground,
external
New Zealand
power.
5 Tree, 25 heavy with uniform ready to taxi IFR. New Zealand 5 Tree, 25 heavy taxi to and hold short of runway tree for via taxiway Bravo on 118.8 when ready. Taxiing hold hold short runway tree for via taxiway Delta Uniform, Bravo 10 Alpha Alpha 10 St. Andrews Tree, 59er. Wellington ground, New Zealand 454 Heavy, requesting the end of pushback.
Right.
New Zealand 454 Heavy request to end pushback received.
There's so much traffic here tonight. Sorry about all that.
Taxiing hold short runway tree for using taxiway Bravo 7 Alpha Alpha 10 New Zealand 5 tree 25 Heavy.
There we go. Thank you very much. We have arrived in Wellington. As you can see, the sun's going down. There's the sun just going down below the mountains. Thanks very much for joining this flight, and we'll see you on the next one.